Hey guys, what's going on? This is Vessel Gaming, and today we are talking about Steelrising. This is just a first impressions video, as I had my first session with the game earlier today, and I just wanted to share a couple thoughts that I had if you're someone who's on the fence about getting the game because of the $50 price tag. Spiders, the game studio behind Steelrising, is also known to produce double A quality from their studios. So that might be a deal breaker for you. So I just wanted to share whether or not you should invest in the game or not. So again, Spiders is behind Steelrising. They're the makers of Greedfall, Technomancer, yada yada. I didn't really get into Greedfall. I did play it some, but I didn't really get invested in it because I found its combat system way too boring at the time. I didn't like it. I just thought it was boring, and I moved on to something else. I'm a big Souls fan, and I know they didn't market Greedfall as a Souls game, but I did get bored. And I went back to probably a Souls-like, I think, at the time. Anyway, but Steelrising has been marketed as a Souls-like, and so far the game does live up to its Souls-like feel. It definitely does remind me of Bloodborne in regards to its world design and the item aesthetics, the fashion, the weapons, the guns that you find throughout the game. And the combat does feel fluid when the frame rates aren't dropping. That's the key right there. This game is suffering from some frame rate performance issues, just like Elden Ring did back in February when it first dropped. I guess that's the standard now these days. You kind of just have to expect it. Right now, the frame rates are very inconsistent, and that's coming from a guy with a PC that has a Ryzen 5950 and a Radeon 6800 XT. So I know it's not my PC, but rather that the game is in need of some performance tuning, just like Elden Ring did on day one. So one interesting note about the combat is that it encourages both offensive and defensive playstyles, but I feel as of now that it didn't strike that balance too well. Like, for example, if you wish to be aggressive and use a lot of stamina, Aegis will overheat, not allowing her to dodge, hit, or do anything really other than move around in whatever direction you want her to move around in. And to counter this, the game implemented a cooldown feature which allows you to regain some stamina, but then it penalizes you for using this feature by inflicting you with frost damage, which is a status effect in the game that robots like yourself are very weak to. The frost damage gradually chips away at your health while it's active, and this kind of does remind me of key pulsing in Neo 1 and Neo 2, if you're familiar with those games. However, the difference between Neo's system and this one is that Neo didn't punish you for key pulsing. Okay, so if you key pulsed often in Neo, you were just regaining stamina, which was perfect because that encouraged that aggressiveness, right? That you wanted in that game. But in this game, you're punished for key pulsing in this way. So what happens is if you key pulse too often, Aegis will stay stun locked for a couple of seconds. I didn't count, but it's like somewhere between 3 to 4 seconds. I know it doesn't sound long, but in a Souls game that encourages fast-paced movement, that's a big deal, especially when you're going against mobs or a big boss. And in my case, I kept dying a lot to the first boss, not because I wasn't good, but because of two reasons: the frame rate drops and this thing where I was key pulsing often, and then Aegis would freeze in place and I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything for like 3 to 4 seconds. And I was confused because I'm like, bro, this is supposed to be in the likeness of Bloodborne and I'm encouraged to be aggressive. But then when I key pulse, right, to regain stamina, I'm firstly punished with frost damage, and then if I keep pulse too often, then I'm punished with this stun locking for a couple of seconds, which then leaves you open to a counterattack from the enemy. To me, that takes away or discourages from the want or desire to play aggressively. So that kind of killed some of the combat experience for me, but so far. But maybe as time goes on, I'll get used to it. But I was expecting like something like more Bloodborne style, where I knew I could just go in and hack and hack and hack and hack, or Neo, where I knew I could go in and hack, key pulse, and then go back in. You know, this is I don't know if there's it doesn't feel balanced in that way, like with the aggression. I just feel like it wants you to be aggressive, but then it punishes you and you have to play defensively. It's weird right now, but maybe as time goes on, I'll probably enjoy it. But that aside, I did want to touch on the graphics real quick. The graphics are beautiful, and I've seen a couple of nice vistas in my first session with the game so far. The game isn't as janky as some of the reviewers have said it is, at least in my opinion. And I actually enjoy how Aegis moves. I think they were going for realism with her movement, especially because she's a robot. So if you kind of just put yourself in her shoes, and imagine yourself being a robot instead of a human, I think we should understand that that's how a robot would probably move. So I did like that touch. It's probably not the popular opinion, as I've seen many people complain about that, but I do like it. And the weapons are flashy, and so are the armor pieces. The armor looks phenomenal in my opinion, and I'm looking forward to finding more of these armor pieces, as I'm a big armor guy, big loot guy. I found actually so far in my first session, which was closer to 3 hours, I actually found a decent amount of weapons, and they all look amazing so far to me. So we'll see how it continues to go. And should you buy it right now if you're on the fence? I'd say probably not. You should probably wait maybe a week or two, maybe a month at best, so that they can smoothen out the performance issues. Because to me, as a long-term veteran of the Souls-like genre, frames really do matter. And it's just the constant frame rate drop is just ridiculous. So for that reason, I would say you should wait. And in terms of the price as well, if you want to wait for a sale, I would highly encourage that, because so far, in my opinion, I don't think the game is worth $50. I think it's worth maybe 35, 40, but that's just me coming off of 3 hours, right? I could change my opinion as I continue. So again, this was just the first impressions, just sharing my initial thoughts of the game for those who are on the fence about buying the game, or think it's gonna be bad, whatever. It's actually really good. I'm having a great time with it. It's just that the performance issues got to get smoothed out, and I don't like what I perceive as the imbalance between aggression and defensive play, especially with Aegis getting stuck and frozen. It just didn't hit me right. So that's all. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, as I'll have more Steelrising content coming for you guys in the coming days. So take care.